Good morning, everyone. Another Saturday. How many Saturdays does that make? Who's keeping count? Who did I assigned somebody to keep count. I forget who it was. I have a motorized standing desk, and I can raise and lower it as needed to fit the headroom and all that stuff. We got our first comment, of course, from Nobody over there on the X platform, the good old X platform. I've been broadcasting on the X platform for years and years and years when it was Periscope, and I've never left YouTube and X. Indeed, it used to be called Twitter, of course. Everybody remembers that. So, this is Thanksgiving week in the U.S., good old U.S. It's one of my Thanksgiving and Christmas are probably my two favorite holidays, 4th of July as well. One of the many things that happen around Thanksgiving is they have Black Friday sales, the Friday after Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving in the United States is Thursday. And they have sales on Friday, big sales leading up to Christmas. Well, people have already started their sales. Final Cut Pro plugin sales. There's some apps that I subscribe to that have sales. Well, Ecamm Live. I use Ecamm Live to broadcast live, and they're having a 40% off sale. So if you ever thought about using Ecamm Live for broadcasting, this is the time to get it. It only happens once a year. Good morning from Beauharnois, Quebec, Canada. When is your Thanksgiving? When is your Thanksgiving in Canada? I don't remember. Good morning from Florida Space Coast. Rockets flying almost every day, it seems. Do you get used to them? I mean, I guess you do. Here in Holland, almost 14 days Black Friday. So there you go. 14 days of Black Friday. There's sales. I haven't, years and years ago, 10, 12, 13 years ago, we had two 30-inch snowfalls back to back. 30 inches fell, and then a week, 10 days later, an additional 30 inches fell. So in some places, we had 60 inches of snow, which is way beyond what any human can hand shovel, obviously. And I live back a driveway. As a matter of fact, let me show you the driveway. Let's go look at the driveway. Oh, look at that, the cat room. That's not what I wanted. Here we go. We're not going to look at that right now. We're going to look at this. Where is that picture? Let me show you a picture of my driveway. Here it is. This is my driveway. So imagine 60 inches of snow, along this driveway. There's no way you're going to shovel this. Can't be shoveled. So my neighbor, who lives across the lane from me, he got us out over a period of days. He had a walk behind Craftsman snowblower, 11 horsepower, something like that. And he just went slowly and took the snow and blew it out. Well, after that happened, I was so impressed that I got the same one, a Craftsman snowblower. And I've had it for all these years. But it doesn't blow snow as efficiently, obviously, as a new one does, because it's getting old. So I got a new one this year, and I got a Black Friday sale. I got $300 off of $16.99. So that was I ordered it. It's not here yet. Good morning from Richmond. When I hear your countdown music, I keep waiting for John Fogerty's vocals to kick in. Definitely some CCR influence in your playing. Absolutely. I love Creedence Clearwater Revival. I love roots rock and roll music. Simple, scrappy, garage-like guitars, 2 guitars, bass and drums, or 1 guitar, bass and drums, vocal, good songwriting, and CCR is a great band from the United States. Looks much like Mine, Covered in Leaves. Based on store offerings at the same time, pre-Black Market, Black Friday started yesterday. Yes. Yeah, so yeah, it started on a Friday after Thanksgiving. That was the stores originally, and then it expanded to the internet now. And everybody's having their, not everybody, a lot of people are having their Black Market, or Black Friday sales, not Black Market, Black Friday sales. And we'll talk about them in a few minutes. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, one of many things, is this. Now, originally, let's pull that down there, take this one off, put me on top so you can see me talking. Originally, when the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit got postponed until the spring, I said, well, they have NAB in the spring, and spring doesn't start until March the 20th, so they'll probably have the Creative Summit in May. I figured May would be open. 13th to 14th in May, Post-Production World Conference is going to be in Europe. This is brand new. So it's not going to be the middle of May. Could be the beginning of May, end of April. But now I'm thinking it could be the beginning or middle of March. Since April and May both have big FMC events, I think the Creative Summit could be the beginning, even though that's not technically spring, it's still winter. But people consider March, well, astrological spring. So now I'm thinking the Creative Summit could be earlier and could be at the beginning of March. That would be great. I would like that a lot if it was the beginning of March. Even on my birthday, March the 20th. Make it on my birthday. That would be fine. That would be fine. And what's going on there? Huh, okay. Looks like Mine, Covered in Leaves. Yeah. It's a little bit of a driveway. It goes all the way back to another property. Mine is somewhere close there at the beginning, and then I have somebody across the street, but it's a private drive. It's not a public road, even though it looks like it. I had to put a sign up because people have a tendency to like to park there. And I said, no, you can't park here. Yeah, now I'm thinking it could be early March. Astrological spring starts March the 1st. So if they do it at the beginning of March, that would be fantastic. I'd like that better than May. May, you're getting into the summer and stuff. And now there's 2 events that FMC's doing. NAB, which is probably their biggest event, in middle of April, and then this new conference they're having in Europe in the middle of May. So they finished one and they're kind of busy. They could have it between those 2, but now I'm thinking they might have it at the beginning of March. Sometime in March. Now, that's my latest bet. So I would like that better. I would like March. Let's go over here and look at, I got the camera in the cat room today. Oh, there we go. That cat is Miss Amanda Jones. We rescued her from the winter months, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. She was running around like a crazy girl outside in the snow. She's like what they call a diluted calico. She was a wild cat, just crazy, running around like crazy. Now she's settled in after all these years and of us treating her good. Miss Amanda Jones, named after the Rolling Stones song, of course. All Apple OS is expected to get at 26.4 with Apple AI finally get somewhere around March 2026. It could be it. Could be. Meteorological. I said astrological. Meteorological spring is March the 1st, right? But not. Spring is actually arrives with the vernal equinox on March the 20th. Like 9 out of 10 years, it's March the 20th. Once in a while, it slips after midnight into March 21st, but 9 out of 10 times, the vernal equinox, equal day, equal night, is March the 20th. So that's spring in the U.S., but meteorological, I kept saying astrological. The meteorological spring is March the 1st, right? But they said in spring, so I'm thinking now it's going to be March. That's my latest bet about the Creative Summit. And that would be better. I'd like that better. I would like that better. Jumper is doing a sale. Jumper is what? Jumper is some kind of a AI search through your videos and they do something. I saw them at the Creative Summit last year, and I told them their price was too high. That's one of the things I told them. I said, you cost as much as Final Cut Pro itself. So I don't think people are going to go for that. It's too much. So I don't know what their sale is. Let's look it up. Let's look it up while we're here. Jumper. Jumper the movie. No. Jumper app. Let's see what we come up with. Jumper, cliff jumping, Jumper AI. Here we go. No. There's a lot of jumpers. Is it Jumper AI? Is that what it is? No. I don't know what the link is. I'll look it up a little later. I think it's going to be big. I do too. I think so. Here's what I've thought about after they announced that they're not going to have they canceled the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit for 2025. You could say postponed it, but they actually canceled it for 2025. It was canceled. There's no Creative Summit in 2025. There is one in 2026. So they did 2024. They canceled the one in 2025, and then they're doing one in 2026. Do you think, and this is what I thought about after the fact, do you think Final Cut Pro 11.2 had enough new features to support a Creative Summit? I don't think so. I mean, I know so. It would not have been a big Creative Summit with the 11.2 update that we got. It's mostly about the iPhone and ProRes RAW. So therefore, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe they didn't have a good update to Final Cut Pro and they didn't want to do one and step down from the quality that they had in 2024. Because 2024 was the best Creative Summit ever with Final Cut Pro 11. So 11.2 was not strong enough to support a Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. So they shifted it to the spring of 2026, which I presume they anticipate having a bigger update to Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Pro 12, 11.3, whatever they want to call it, really doesn't make any difference. Notice that Motion VFX haven't had an update to Final Cut Pro plugin in an unusually long time. Suspicious. Plus, aren't they all subscriptions? Isn't Motion VFX mostly subscriptions now? Thumbs down on that, Motion VFX. We don't like your subscriptions. How we doing, Milcor Pictures? Your subscriptions are too expensive and they're not worth it. I have some Motion VFX plugins, but they're all perpetual licensed ones. I have no idea how that works going forward. I don't use them that much. But I had another caption editing crash in 11.1.1. Really should upgrade to 11.2 now that episode 93 is aired. There you go. So back up your copy of 11.1.1. So in case you got to go back up your projects, back up your libraries of important ones. Yes, I have a sub to Motion VFX. There you go. So I have some. Let me see what the heck I have. I'll go look in my movies folder, motion templates, titles. Let's see what I have. Motion VFX, and I have no subscriptions for them. 0 subscriptions. Motion VFX. Let me see what that says. Oh, that's for that. Is M matrix, M lower thirds, M lowers, M logo, M formed? I think those are Motion VFX ones that I have. Also, the Boris Continuum, also no updates in a while. Are they updating? Do these companies have plugins for DaVinci Resolve? DaVinci Resolve is just leaving everybody else in the dust as far as updates go. I mean, it's just the way they are, the way they've been. So Boris did get an update recently. Well, that's certainly interesting and encouraging. Boris, that's good. Now, speaking of plugins, let's give our friends a plug. Let's give our friends a plug. Let's go over to this one again. Take this off, and we'll put this on. This is one of our friends, Brett FX. It's got a great package over there. Everything bundle for 99 bucks, 80% off right now for Black Friday. Right now for Black Friday. BrettFX.com. I met Brett at the Creative Summit 2 years ago. And I think, 2023 and 2024. We always have a good time together. We always have a good time together. Now, here's a good question. Yes, they have plugins for most NLEs. Good morning. Do any one of the smartphone gimbals on Black Friday? They've had sales. Yes, they had sales on a couple of them. I look on Amazon typically because that's where a lot of Black Friday sales happen. And there's a couple of sales, but be aware. This is something to be aware of. And I think I'm the only one talking about it. I've brought it to let's see who's in the cat room. Yeah, there's 2 kitties in there now. The orange one is Lucinda, and then the calico, the diluted calico, is Miss Amanda Jones. That's the cat room. They sit there on those pillows and just watch outside, and sometimes squirrels are out there, or one of the neighborhood cats comes walking by, and they can watch the cars and other things. They have a good time. But let's do, what was I going to say? I'm going to show you something about gimbals. It's very important because there is a lot of stuff going on with gimbals. Did I put those over here? Let's see if I did. Black Friday. somewhere I put those. I guess I got to pull them from up here. Let's see if this works. Be aware of this. Be aware of this. So the brand new DJI OM8, the Hohem gimbal, and there's one other company that put out a gimbal. They have shrunk their arms, as you can see over here. They have shrunk that arm, that gimbal arm. You can see it on the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro, how long it is, and then you can see how short it is on the DJI, the Hohem, and there's one other gimbal that just came out, and they've all shrunk that arm, the main gimbal arm. And they probably did it to increase the weight limit, but the problem is you can no longer fit one of these on there. You can no longer fit this Lexar SSD or any attachment to the back of the phone with these new gimbals because the arm is too short and it won't rotate. It will not rotate. It will not clear anything that's back mounted to your phone. Okay? So none of the SSDs, even this little tiny one that I have, will work with these new gimbals, which is a big, huge oversight, in my opinion. It's a completely big oversight. Thousands and thousands of these have been sold, hundreds of thousands, different brands, SSDs and other things, and none of them work on the new gimbal. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about here. I'll get my gimbal over here. This is the Insta360 Pro, Flow 2 Pro. Let me pull the camera up. And I'm going to mount it like I normally do. Oops, sorry about that. And I'm going to put this new SSD on there that I use. Just snaps right in place. Actually, it's going the wrong way. Allow. Got to rebalance a little bit while it's dead. Still got to go the other way. Let me get one more thing on there. Where did that go? Oh, I'm charging it. Well, anyway, let me I also put a, well, let me just go take care of that. Hold on one second. We'll look at the cat room for just a minute. Look at the cat room for just a minute. The two kitty cats are there. So here's the deal. This is what, when I shoot ProRes RAW, I use my S2. This is a 2 terabyte SSD on there right now. As you can see, this is a 2 terabyte SSD, and I put on my Hollyland. Did I turn it upside down? I can't see in the dark here. No, it's right there. All right, let me show you. Come on now. There it is on the side. Put this up there. Okay, so this is what I do. Hollyland Lark 32-bit float, iPhone receiver, and 2 terabyte SSD. Now, if you notice, I'll do it from the back. if you notice, this clears this space right here. This clears this space. On the new gimbals, it does not clear. There's no space here on the new gimbals because this arm is too short. Let me pull this up a little higher so you can see a little better. So you can't use anything on the back of your gimbal. It doesn't work on 3 of the brand new gimbals. The OM8, the Hohem, some new Hohem, and some other new gimbal, and you can't use it because this arm is too short, and when the phone rotates, it hits. This hits right here. This is the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro that I have. This one works completely fine. You have a lot of space there. You have a lot of space when it rotates around. You can see, I can put my finger in there. That's how much space you have. But the new ones, you can't use anything mounted to the back on those gimbals. It's ridiculous. It's a complete design flaw as far as I'm concerned. And they probably shortened this arm to make the weight limit higher. I don't know for a fact, but no way I'm buying one of those gimbals. I use this too much. You can see how tiny it is. So this is a 2 terabyte SSD, plugs into the USB-C port, and I have my Hollyland Lark receiver so I can record into the phone 32-bit float. The Hollyland is the only one that does that. You can record into the transceivers on a lot of them, but you can't record into the phone 32-bit float. Hollyland is the only one that transmits 32-bit float. So I can record ProRes RAW with this SSD and 32-bit float audio with this SSD. And you have to use a gimbal if you're using ProRes RAW because it's it's not stabilized. But pay attention to those gimbals because most of them don't. 3 of them that have come out recently don't. You can't use this back-mounted SSD. Does not work. Put this over here. By the way, speaking of Black Friday, I got a 24 terabyte spinning hard drive for backup for $249. I was the last one to get that on Amazon. A Seagate, 24 terabyte for $249. Now, the issue is I don't trust that one spinning disk as a backup. So I take stuff off my other SSDs, dump it on the 24 terabyte, back that up to Backblaze, and back it up to LTO9 tape. So I have 2 other backups because I don't trust those big hard drives. Boy, imagine losing 24 terabytes of data if something goes wrong. So I'll empty my hard drives, and then immediately it'll be backed up in Backblaze, and then it'll be backed up. I'll back it up on LTO9 as I go forward. I won't let it fill up without doing that backup procedure. So, this is what started that conversation. Smartphone gimbals, yes. A well-known in Final Cut Pro have its Mac Studio internal drive go full crash and lost months of work because of a backup strategy error. See, this is the problem. I don't trust the big hard drives by themselves. Thank you, Rich, for that valuable gimbal information. Which gimbal would you recommend that will work with external lenses? I assume InstaFlow to be a good option. No, I'm not talking about lenses. Lenses is another additional weight factor. I'm talking about they won't clear the back, anything that's connected to the back. I don't use lenses, so that's not a concern for me. If I'm using a lens, I'm going to put it on a much heavier gimbal. I have a much bigger gimbal that takes like 6 pounds, 6-pound payload. It'll take my Lumix S5 Mark II X or I can put the phone in a cage and do lenses. No, I'm talking about a lightweight, fast, quick gimbal. The Insta360 Flow 2 Pro, and I hope the Flow 3 Pro does not shorten that arm, because that's going to be a problem. I'm going to stick with the 2 if they do. I got to have the ability to shoot with a SSD plugged into the back of the phone. The one I'm using right there is the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro. It's a really, really good gimbal, and I have the AI tracking thing on it, and I bought that extra. Don't you have a terabyte on your phone? Yes, I do. But, as I discovered before the phones came out, in September, before the iPhones came out, you cannot record ProRes RAW on the internal SSD, no matter what size you have. You have to have an external hard drive, and that's probably because of the red patent. The red patent covers internal recording. It does not cover external recording. And I think that's probably the reason that Apple does not let you record ProRes RAW internally. The drive is certainly fast enough. They make you record on an external drive only. So if I want to record ProRes RAW, which is my new favorite format to record in as far as something important, it's a great codec, has to be an external SSD. But I do have a 1 terabyte, yes. The ones who make the new designs are not very bright to have reduced the full use spectrum of their gimbal. Absolutely. For audio, you can pair it with a DJI mic via Bluetooth. Bluetooth connectivity is okay, but it's not as good as Direct Connect. And it's not 32-bit float. There's no way that you can get 32-bit float into your phone via Bluetooth. Bluetooth does not support 32-bit float. So in my situation, I record to the Hollyland Lark tiny little transmitter. This thing records internally 32-bit. It also, I love this. It has an alligator snap clip. So all you do is just clip it like, let me get on the right way. Usually I clip it like this. So that's all you see is this little clip on the outside. The mic goes on the inside. That's usually the way I wear it. If it's on a black coat, you don't even notice it. So this microphone records internally 32-bit, but it also transmits 32-bit to the receiver that's plugged into the phone. So 32-bit backup recording, 32-bit transmission to the phone. DJI Bluetooth connectivity does not give you 32-bit float. Bluetooth is an okay transmission, but it's not the best for audio. It's not as good a quality. I used it for years with the DJI Mic 1 and 2, sometimes, but I usually use the receiver. The receiver is a better connection. Was it factory renewed at that price? What price are you talking about? Oh, no, it was brand new. It was brand new. It was the Black Friday, you mean the hard drive, the 24 terabyte hard drive for $249 on Amazon. When I first clicked on it, it said, hurry up, there's only 3 available. I thought about it. I was going to get 2 of them. Then I said, I was going to get 2 of them and back up one to the other. And they said, no, it's brand new. Normally, I think $349, $100 off. I clicked on the link. I put 2 in my basket. They took one off them out, said there's only 1 left. So I just bought the 1. It should be here in a day or 2. External lenses for the iPhone seem bizarre as they are really needed or just a gimmick difficult to use in real world. I got the Moment system years ago for the iPhone 14 Pro Max probably. I just never used them. I'm going to sell them all. I use the anamorphic a little bit. I like the anamorphic. If I can use anamorphic with ProRes RAW OpenGate, yes, I'm going to get a system like that. But you know what? If I'm going to shoot anamorphic, I'm just going to take my Lumix S5 Mark IIX and shoot in 6K and just crop that out into an anamorphic. It's just a great way. I've done that before and it looks fantastic. I can shoot ProRes RAW with the Lumix S5 Mark IIX, but I got to shoot once again to an external device. You can't do it internally, but you can shoot externally to a Atomos Pro. You can do RAW from the Lumix S5 Mark IIX, ProRes RAW, or Blackmagic RAW with the appropriate device. RAW is going out of the HDMI, and you got to have a device that records it. BreadFX bundle at $99 is not just a bargain, it's a steal. I recommend it. I do too. Plus, he's a really good guy. He writes cool plugins, so I really like his plugins a lot. Speaking of plugins, I'm going to do a special Final Cut TV Live on Tuesday, 1 o'clock Eastern, let's say. Watch out for that. This coming Tuesday, at 1 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to do a special edition of Final Cut TV Live. So do we think that the Final Cut Pro team is going to give us a bug fix update 11.2.1 before the end of the year? Is that a possibility? Yes, it's a possibility. If they wait from September when we got 11.2 all the way till the spring, if they wait 6 months with no features, they deserve the criticism that they get for lack of innovation and for being glacially slow for their update schedule. It's just incredible that they think they can just go 6 months. We don't need to do any updates to Final Cut Pro. Everybody else is doing incredible updates. Blackmagic Design with DaVinci Resolve, tons of features and bug fixes and this update and that update. Their camera app is updated. They should not wait 6 months to do a feature update. Now, they could make me eat my words if they do a feature update between now and the spring. But they should not wait, because look at what we've got. 11 was a good update, good solid update a year ago. 11.1 came out in the spring, in March, right before NAB, which I predicted that was going to happen. That was an okay update. 11.2 was not an update that could have supported a Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. Not enough there. And it was mostly for the iPhone in ProRes RAW. So that's pointing towards a big update in the spring, but they should give us something between now and the spring. Otherwise, we're waiting a year and a half before the big update. It's not, listen, we understand everybody's busy and you guys have a small team and stuff. I understand that. But not giving us big updates for 6 months is, to me, in this day and age, is not acceptable. You should give us a couple of updates. Give us a couple of features in the meantime on the road to the big update. But 11.2, I appreciate it because I have an iPhone 17 Pro Max that can shoot ProRes RAW. But for the most part, the millions and millions of Final Cut Pro people, it wasn't that big a deal. It wasn't that big an update. So, update will be a welcome minor one as a Christmas gift, but I don't expect it. No, I pleasantly surprised if they included a bug fix plus a feature or two. My point is, when you go to a big update, 11.2, it wasn't that big. It wasn't that big. It was mostly about ProRes RAW, which is about the phone. So 11.2 is not that big. When you're not doing that big updates at a point number, like a whole 11.2, 11.1, they're not that big, but you make us wait for 6 months or longer for an update that's not that big. It's just not that big. So 11 was a big update. And when they did 10.8 in 2023 with the scrolling timeline, that was a big update. Both of those were Creative Summit updates. These other two updates, 11.1, 11.2, 11.1 was good. 11.2, like I said, I liked it because I have a iPhone 17 Pro Max, but a lot of people don't. So it's not that big an update to a large part of the Final Cut Pro community, and you get criticized for it. And I'm not going to defend your update schedule because it's really not very good. 11.0 was good. And I think it was 10.8 before that. Those were both good, solid updates with some nice features. But 11.1 was okay. 11.2 was not big enough to support a Creative Summit, which I presume that's going to be the reason why you switched it to the spring, because you didn't have a big update. And I'm glad you did. Don't get me wrong. I would rather not have an update based on a smallish Final Cut Pro update. So we'll see. Any news on what was fixed in compressor? Release note was a boilerplate vagueness. No, it's probably not that much, probably bug fixes. Big update is when you add something so many users have requested or a need. Big update is when, yes, a feature that a lot of people have requested. Scrolling timeline is a perfect example. And just doing ProRes RAW compatibility, like I said, I like that because I have a 17 Pro, but if you don't have a 17 Pro and don't work with Final Cut, it wasn't that big. It's okay, and I'm glad we got it, but if we have to wait from September all the way till March or later for anything, there's no Final Cut Pro news at all going on for 6 months, it's very difficult to keep on doing these shows and trying to talk about stuff. It's like radio silence. You should have, let's say, 2 major updates a year, and then in between another feature or 2 added, bug fix, whatever you want to call it. You should have more activity on the update schedule over the year. You get criticized for not, and I'm not going to defend you because it's deserved. The criticism is well deserved. But it's a slow update schedule for Final Cut Pro. Very, very slow. Does that mean I'm not going to use it? No, it doesn't mean that at all. It's still my favorite NLE at this point. So we'll see. I mean, you need to have somebody else in charge of the update schedule. So you really do. You have a lot of people out there, a lot of jobs open on. Now let's talk about that for a second. What the heck is this? Let me just check on this first. There they are. 2 girls are sleeping. And once again, that's the Insta360. Now, let me see what else I got. Let me get this. I got pictures all over the place. Here's one. One of my favorite ones. Mr. Bill. I found this somewhere. It just makes me laugh. Seeing this guy just makes me laugh. Let me see if I can find out that other picture that I'm looking for. Another screen grab. See, this is the problem with the gimbals. It's the length of the arm. See how short the one on the right is compared to the Insta360? And it won't clear the external SSDs. And nobody's talking about that when they do the reviews. They say, oh, the DJI sent me this gimbal, but it's not influenced. It's not influencing. Hogwash. That's complete hogwash. Of course it's influencing your decision. What am I looking for? Did that. Did that. What picture am I looking for? Huh. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Is this it? Nope. Oh, well. I don't have the picture I was looking for to think about it for a minute. I don't have it. Do not have it. I'll have to think about it, where I put it. Do you think Apple is in the process to update the Pro Team 2? That's what I was looking for. They have an ad for the. Where did I put that picture? I know I have it somewhere. Let me see if I put it over here. That's exactly what I was looking for. Let me see. And I don't know. I don't think I put it there. Let me see if I put it there. I don't think I did. Mr. Bill. That. What about this one? Nope. I don't have it. But they have they talked about a new positions, what is it called? The Pro something? It's not Pro Apps. It's something else. Let's see if I can find it. You know what? I'll go over to our Facebook page. I think I have it over there. Let me just see. Let me see. There's a new, where is that? Hold on one second. I know I posted it somewhere. And I want you to get your opinion on what's going on with that. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it. Hold on a second. Let's do this. What the heck is this? Creator Studio? What is that, Apple? You're hiring a bunch of people for Creator Studio, and you talk about Final Cut Pro, and you talk about Logic Pro. So what is Creator Studio? Is that something AI involved? Is something else? You're hiring people for it, so it's got to be something. What is Creator Studio versus the Pro Apps team? Or the Pro Apps? That, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't think I'll be getting that job at Apple. It's been a month since I applied and no word back. You follow up if you can. Our friend Ben says, sorry I'm late. Good morning. How you doing, Ben? Glad you could make it. Glad you could make it. Is Apple going to make an all-in-one app like DaVinci? It's pretty incredible the way DaVinci has tabs and you can go to different apps. It's really a brilliant design. Imagine opening up one app and going to Final Cut Pro, going to Logic Pro by switching on a tab, going to Compressor, going to Motion, going to whatever other apps they have. One of the jobs that they advertise is Pro Apps Acquisition. One of the jobs that Apple advertised is Pro Apps Acquisition. Okay, that means somebody is going to be acquiring Pro Apps. Somebody's going to be acquiring Pro Apps. Motion VFX have an updated Final Cut Pro plugin since I got it sold off to new owners, to be precise. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, we know that Final Cut Pro had sold, at one point, sold 4.5 to 6 million users. That's a lot. That's a big business. And then you have the App Store on top of that, but who in the heck knows? But I'd like to know what the heck Creator Studio is. That's what I'd like to know. If somebody found this in the beta code. Somebody found this in the beta code. I think Mac OS beta. Could Creator Studio, a new Final Cut Pro bundle like Final Cut Pro Studio, but even more integration like DaVinci Resolve Studio? Yeah, DaVinci Resolve has the best integration of anybody. You don't have to launch a new app. They all launch at one time. You switch from one to the other. You switch from the edit page to the cut page to Fusion to the color page to the audio page to the export page. Phenomenal integration of Pro Apps. I think if Final Cut Pro team is working on that, they're working on a new version of Final Cut. I think they'd have to do a new version. Yes, that's what I meant. They oversimplify everything and then they throw in one big bundle master app. That would be interesting, but Creator Studio, where's the Pro in Creator Studio? Or is it not meant for professionals? Is it meant for YouTubers or influencers or college students? It sounds more like that. And overwhelming with AI tools. I always hope there's a big update coming. When we got the scrolling timeline was at 10.8, I was really glad. I was really glad to see that finally after all these years. And 11 was good, was a good solid update. That version of the Creative Summit was phenomenal. 2024. Very, very cool. They canceled it in 2025. Now they have it in 2026. So, but by the same token, FMC now has two more post-production worlds happening. One in Europe, one in some other country. Final Cut Pro went from being the market's #1 professional NLE to being a major creator YouTube app. That needs to be in line with that trend. Yeah, I use Final Cut Pro professionally. I have for a long time, but I could use, if I had to use DaVinci Resolve, I certainly could. And DaVinci Resolve is much more sophisticated than Final Cut Pro. But I still use Final Cut Pro as my main thing. Do you think Final Cut is the best app for a beginning editor? I would say it depends on what they want to do. It's certainly fairly easy to edit with, so they can get a 90-day free trial. Or they can get I wouldn't recommend it, but they can get the Final Cut on the iPad. We call it Final Cut Junior. I would say get the 90-day free trial, use it on the Mac. See if it's, there's tons of tutorials, tons of YouTube videos on how to edit with Final Cut Pro. DaVinci Resolve has a free version, but it is very, very complicated. Very, very complicated. Best NLE is subjective. Yeah, I would say, I use Final Cut because I've been using it since version, before 10 came out, since version 1. And so I'm very familiar with it, and I find it comfortable. I just don't find the update schedule that beneficial. It seems like they're just dragging behind everybody. Look, text-based editing came out 2.5 years ago. Everybody's had it for 2.5 years. When Final Cut finally gets it, maybe with 10.11.3 and with the Creative Summit, it's going to be 3 years old. So it's not going to be anything new and innovative. Now, they still do new and innovative stuff. And yes, sometimes their version is the better version, but waiting for 2.5 to 3 years for a feature that everybody else has is kind of ridiculous. And then there's the cube search bug. Yeah. So Ben told me about that. If you type cube in the search field, there's a crash or something, Ben? Is that what it was? I didn't try it. I don't try things to make my Mac crash. See what's going on. There they are. 2 sleeping cats. That's their favorite place. They have their own, it's a futon with their own pillows, their own cat trees. Well, once in a while they go into cat trees. They sleep there at night. They sleep there during the day. At night we close the curtains. They like to watch the traffic, and maybe a squirrel goes by in front of them once in a while, or one of the neighborhood cats will go by. But most they sleep. Cats sleep a lot. Cats sleep a lot. Finder crashes and reboots if you type cube in the search field in the Finder. Is that what it is? I'm not going to do it now. Final Cut Pro, 2 major selling points are easy to start learning and very fast for the new creator economy. Oh, yeah, it has its benefits. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Final Cut Pro has its benefits, and I would recommend, if somebody's starting out, and I've recommended this to people, I would recommend getting a backup career, whatever field you want to go. If you want to be a carpenter, a plumber, an electrician, if you want to get a business degree or learn computer programming, get that degree, get that experience so you always have a backup. And then you could go into video editing and see how that does for you. But I would not just rely on video editing for a career. I like being more secure in my paying my bills than that. So that's what I did all of the years. I always had a job in construction, even though I was playing in a band and I had a recording studio and developed into video production. I always had a major 40-hour-a-week job that paid all my bills and bought this house that I'm living in. Paying the mortgage. Video editing is my backup, wanting to get back into programming. There you go. I mean, there's nothing, if you like video editing, that's I do. But I like music as well. But I never said I want to be a starving musician and only depend on music. No, I want to do the music that I like. I want to edit videos that I like and not have to do a video just to pay the bills. Now, some people are in different positions and they're bigger and they could do that. I always had another job that paid my bills. I was a post supervisor at the National Archives. Yeah, that's video editing, but I was paid 40 hours a week for 40 hours worth, jobs, and I got vacation and 401k match and health insurance and all that stuff based on that job. Before that, I was in construction for a long time. And the same thing, I had 40 hours a week, I had vacation, I had health insurance, paid 401k match, paid holidays, all that stuff. All that good stuff. So one of the things that I wanted to mention today, and we've been on for an hour. Let me go over here real quick. Let's go over here. This is kind of an amazing story if you don't know. And I'm going to bring it up. I posted this on my personal Facebook page. So November 22nd, 1963, I was going to St. John's School in Silver Spring, and I was walking along Georgia Avenue. They let us out early. because Kennedy was assassinated that day. I was in grade school. And during that day, during after school, I delivered newspapers. In those days, it was outside of D.C. It was the Washington Daily News. It was an afternoon newspaper that I delivered right there. This is actually one of the editions that I delivered. I kept it all those years. I still have this copy from the day. I was a kid. I was in single digits, grade school. So I delivered this paper the day JFK was shot. This is a copy, an actual copy. And then years later, I worked as a post-production supervisor at the National Archives, and I got to see the actual rifle that shot John Kennedy, which is this one right here. This is the actual rifle that Oswald used to shoot Kennedy. And the National Archives, where I worked at the time, actually has that in their possession. They have it in College Park. Their College Park, they call it Archives 2. And I got to film this stuff. And then below that is the actual Zapruder film. This is the actual Zapruder film. And I got to see the magic bullet. And I got to see the .38 caliber pistol that he shot Officer Tippit with, supposedly. And all this memorabilia that the National Archives has. So when I delivered this newspaper as a kid, single digits, and was going to St. John's School, I never in a million years thought that years later I would be in the same room as that infamous rifle that actually took President Kennedy's life. Isn't that amazing? Amazing story. These are pictures that I took in the when I was at the National Archives. Amazing, amazing. How will Cook leaving impact the direction of app development? Good question, Ben. I don't know. Cook has been a great CEO for the stock price. He's had the stock price go way up since Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was difficult but very strict, but he also was an incredible person. I love editing too, but can't imagine sitting in front of a computer for hours and day after day. So when I was a post supervisor at the National Archives, I had my own edit suite. It was on the 5th floor of the Archives building in Washington, D.C., halfway between the Capitol and the White House on Pennsylvania Avenue, 7th and Penn. I was on the 5th floor. I had 2 stainless steel doors you had to get through to get into my edit suite. And I did a lot of editing during the day, but I would get up and I would go outside and I'd walk the entire distance from the Washington Monument down to the U.S. Capitol on the mall. The mall has a Capitol on one end and the monument at the other end. I don't know, maybe a mile, whatever it was. I'd get out there and I'd walk that in the morning. So I made sure I got away from that desk, but a large part of my day job was editing video. I agree with you. I edited full-time for many years. Those were very demanding multi-day projects. Enjoyed it a lot. But at this point, I would not go back to it. I did too for National Archives. I basically edited for 40 hours a week. Being a videographer and only have become a risky business with a big win, but also potential big loss if it's the only target. But as music artists say, some prefer all in one basket. I understand both sides, but it's not something I decided to do. I decided when I was young, I got my first job in construction. I'm going to work hard and make as much money as I can, buy a house, so when I get older, I don't have to worry about things. So this house that I got now is almost paid for. Once it's paid for, I'll have to pay his taxes and insurance. The mortgage payment will be gone. And this is why I worked construction plus I like it. I loved carpentry work, working with my hands. Some studio in Hollywood closed forever, and some broadcaster have shrunk. Only creator economy seems some increase. That's the YouTube. I know somebody who still only does wedding videos. They have a couple of decades now and still making good money. I think they work 10-hour days. I couldn't do that. Yeah, I don't like wedding videos. I've done my share of wedding videos, and it's just, here's the thing. When I wrote music, I still do. I have a passion about original music, doing stuff that I specifically like. If I had to play in a top 40 band to pay my bills, not interested. I don't want to play in a cover band just to pay my bills. That's compromising what I enjoy about music. Same with video editing. When I worked at the National Archives as post supervisor, as your main editor, yes, I would do their projects, whatever they wanted, the government projects. That's what I was supposed to do. But that's my 40-hour-a-week job. Guaranteed 40 hours a week. I paid 40 hours. I got a check every week. But on nights and weekends, I would edit video that I wanted to do. I do animal rescue promo videos. I do music videos. I do some documentary work that I had a passion for. So that's what I enjoy about video editing. Now I don't need the 40-hour-a-week job anymore. Yes, I got a video edit. I got a wedding video I have to finish. I have to finish it in the next couple of weeks. So very, very interesting times. So anyway, today's the 62nd anniversary of the Kennedy assassination, November the 22nd. 60-some years ago, I was delivering that paper. As a kid, I was delivering that newspaper as a kid after school. Never in a million years, in all the subsequent years, that I think I was going to be in the same room with that memorabilia, this Kennedy assassination memorabilia. But anyway, let's get back to Final Cut Pro. I'm going to have a special episode Tuesday, probably at 1 o'clock. I'll post it on the YouTube channel. Can you show us an animal rescue video you edited? Well, let me see if I can show you. There's a couple. Let me go to my YouTube channel. Let me just hold on here a second. YouTube. Let's go here. Let's go with this one. I'll play a little bit of this one for you. Let me get my picture. Let me turn that down a little better. I'm going to take my picture off. I'll play a little bit of it for you, just a little bit. So the park.
So currently we're feeding approximately 100 cats in one section of Park Heights. The number fluctuates. There used to be a lot more. Some have disappeared, some have been adopted, but we're always looking for new cats because pretty much every week a new one or two or five turn up. So part of the job is feeding, making sure the area is clean, talking with the neighbors and providing some education when you have the chance, and mostly to be on the lookout again for new cats or for injured or sick cats so that we can intervene. So part of what we bring with us, you have to have a little bit of space, roughly 30 to 50 pounds of dry food if you only feed dry. You can have maybe 40 pounds of dry if you add some wet. I always like to add wet food because not everybody can or does, and it's so much better for the cats. So if you can, it's great to bring a couple cases of wet food too and give them a little bit of that as a treat. They don't get a lot of great food out here on the street. You're going to bring 3 to 4 gallons of water. You're going to bring some empty trays, bowls, disposable utensils, and I always carry a trap and a carrier with me just in case, because again, we never know what we're going to see and we kind of need to be prepared for everything. So I guess Tyler and Aaron are going to go ahead and feed this spot. We have 2 feeding stations in this alley, and the cats are pretty clearly divided. There's the top half of the alley group and the bottom half of the alley group, and every now and then they cross over, but not too much. So we do feed both locations, and here's how it's done. We always want to maintain the feeding station as well. We put these disposable bins up, and that helps keep flies, birds, bugs, whatever, out of the food. And then when the containers start looking nasty, we throw them away and replace them because we don't want the neighbors to complain about the trash. We want the cats to have the most sanitary conditions they can possibly have for this area. If you happen to look up on the porch, somebody's waiting for breakfast.
Yeah, people get evicted and they just dump out all the owner's belongings, and it sits there until a crew comes by.
So we're trying to kind of stop the whole cycle by
So that's just one of the many. I've done dozens and dozens of I do pro bono work for the animal rescues in the area. The Park Heights one, the one you were just watching, Park Heights is not a good neighborhood in Baltimore. It's not a good neighborhood. So these volunteers that go out there, they use their own car, et cetera, et cetera. They try to make friends with the people where the cats are so they don't bother the cats. They let them know they're going to feed them and trap, neuter, return them back there and stuff. So that's just one. I also do work for Friskies, which is a wildlife rehabilitator. They take in only wildlife, injured, orphaned wildlife, rehabilitate them, put them back out. I work with the Carroll County Humane Society, and they're a no-kill shelter in Carroll County. And I also work with Finally Home Animal Rescue, which is a local where I live. They do cat rescues. These people dedicate their lives to rescuing animals. I have just the one show I added for YouTube videos and episodes every 2 months now, less than half-time work. There you go. Someone I know who used Vegas showed the latest update to me, very impressive. I remember when Vegas was about as basic as you could get. Yeah, I like Final Cut Pro. One of my GSDs is a rescue. The other is a rehome. I've always had purebred GSDs. All came from rescues and shelters. creating even small movies yourself is so much more rewarding than doing corporate video or something who else needed a day job for getting incomes. Nothing wrong with corporate video. Nothing wrong with wedding videos. That's completely fine. Those are more 40-hour-a-week job kind of jobs. I like having a steady paycheck. So I didn't want to depend on music or video editing as my main source of income. That's not, I don't feel comfortable. I like 40 hours. I like a brick and mortar job of some sort. So I use that as my income, pay my bills, and then I can do video editing that I want to do. I can do music that I want to do because I enjoy those things too much. Thanks for showing, and more thanks for doing. I'll appreciate it very much when people care about animals. Absolutely. Ben also is involved. I volunteer as a trainer at the shelter, got one of my GSDs, something Danes, I think it is. I do a pet first aid class at a local Red Cross HQ. Yeah, so yeah, that's a passion of mine. Since I've been a little kid, I care a lot about animals, and so since I'm a video editor, I do videos. I can do pro bono videos for these companies. German Shepherd dog. There you go. That's what Ben has. We had a German Shepherd at one point, but it wasn't purebred. It was brown, but it definitely was a German Shepherd when I was a kid. So, but passion is animal rescue, music, rock and roll music. I like it a lot. Some other things. I do. Those are the kind of things that I do. As far as music goes, I like roots rock music. It's not rare to see musicians who work in a day job to enjoy their music passion. Right, exactly. So I know musicians, and I'm not criticizing them, it's just not for me, who say, well, I'm going to play in a cover band or a top 40 band so I can pay my bills. I didn't want to me, that's a compromise. I didn't want to compromise myself. I wanted to strictly do original music with a few covers here and there and play the music is too important to me to be doing covers. But it's okay if you do them. It's just not okay for me to do them. I couldn't afford the food for a Great Dane. So those things are humongous. They are like a horse. I also do live streaming for my church. Starts paying on the new year. There you go. That's another good thing. I've done some videos from our local church as well. I did a series of interviews with some of the priests that were coming and going for the church a couple years back. It's all pro bono work, those kind of things. So what do we think is going to happen with Final Cut? I mean, not what's going to happen for the rest of the year. Radio silence next January, February, radio silence, or are they going to give us something to talk about? It's hard to tell. It's not that we don't appreciate what they're doing. It's just we wish they would do more of it. Let's give them a round of applause so they don't feel like Final Cut Pro team. We care about you a lot, and we like the product that you're doing. We just think it could be more updated more often. And you know that. We've told you at the Creative Summit. Knew all about it. I run media for a local church part-time, pays very chill. Yes. Yes. Our church live streams their masses. I go to a Catholic church. I was St. John's, the school I went to was a Catholic school. So that's why I wear jackets all the time. When I was a kid, we had to wear jackets, blazers, to school every day. Not in kindergarten, but I think first grade on. So I got used to it. Plus, I like the pockets. I got 2 pockets on the outside. I got a pocket here. I got a pocket here. I got a pocket there. I love having this many pockets for putting stuff in. All pro apps get folded into that creative suite, and it'd either be a master app like DaVinci or a suite like it used to be at Final Cut Pro 7 days. That would be interesting if that's what they're doing. I would be pleasantly surprised if they did one master bundle like that. because they have to probably rewrite everything. They could be rewriting everything now. They could be rewriting all the pro apps, and that's why the pace has been slower than the competition. I can't imagine part-time videography if you were in subscription model like Adobe, when even pausing is a nightmare. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. I want to show you one of the things that I got a kick out of. So the Creator Studio, now let's look over here. Let me pull this up. One of the things that this one, I got the biggest kick out of this. You'll be charged an early cancellation fee of $419.94. I don't know if this is real. I've heard horror stories about trying to get out of this subscription early. Can you imagine? You wanted to quit 2 days early, and they want to charge, Adobe wants to charge you $419.94. Adobe can go pound sand. They are the worst company model with their ransom subscriptions of any of this. This is why Adobe is the reason I hate subscriptions so much. I don't know if this is real. Could be fake. But I've heard horror stories of people trying to cancel their subscription. Can't get through. This is what Adobe does. They want to hold you ransom. There's no way that I'd ever support them. No way I'd ever support them. Didn't we get told by Apple not too long ago that Final Cut Pro had a long life ahead of it? Yes, they said originally when Final Cut Pro 10 came out, there was a 10-year cycle. I used the term roadmap, which was not accurate. It was some other word. And then when 11 came out, I asked that question about the 10-year roadmap, and they say we expected to be going much faster with 11. Well, we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen that speed yet. I think what the team meant when they said that was they've gone from 10.8 to 11 to 11.1 to 11.2 rather quickly, but they haven't brought the features for each one of those steps. A lot of good features. Text-based editing, 2.5 years behind at this point. 2.5 years behind text-based editing. Avid has it. Premiere has it. Blackmagic has it. 2.5 years ago at NAB. Nowhere to be seen in Final Cut Pro. Yes, Philip and Greg's they have the plugin or whatever that is, Lumberjack systems. I want to see it native in Final Cut Pro. Period. Everybody else has it native. I use Blackmagic all the time. It's really cool for long-form editing. I don't use it for short form. Tune in Tuesday, I think 1 o'clock. Just watch my YouTube channel. It's going to be a special edition of Final Cut TV Live on Tuesday. I want to make sure, I'm not leaving yet, but I want to make sure, I want to wish everybody in the U.S. a happy Thanksgiving, because that's this week. I think they could pull off Final Cut Pro to work on the iPhone way too often, just a theory. They do. They get pulled off. It isn't, Final Cut Pro is not, the Final Cut Pro Apps team is not, they don't just work on one thing. They work on, with the iPad version, they did that for a couple years and stuff. So, and it's a small team. It's not a large team. Apple is not Blackmagic Design. Blackmagic Design is pretty much dedicated to video production, audio production, both in hardware and software. That's their focus. Video production in Final Cut in Apple is about this big compared to iPhones and iPads and Macs and the App Store, which are gigantic. It's this big. It's a much smaller chunk of a larger company, where Blackmagic, their whole company is video production and video filming and cameras. It's a completely different way of looking at things, and I understand that. But I still would like to see the Final Cut Pro team develop faster and get us some of these features that we want. So here's what I'd be happy with 10.3 in the spring. Text-based editing and a roles-based mixer. both of those would be big and plus some other features as well. Both of those would be big ticket items that would do well for a Final Cut Creative Summit. Absolutely. So this little pink lanyard and tag there, that's from Apple. That's a little Apple, the little pink thing in the middle of the black, that's from Apple, from going to one of the Creative Summits, going to the Spaceship Campus. So going to the Spaceship Campus is a huge deal for the Creative Summit. I mean, I love to go. I've been there twice, 2023 and 2024, and I'm pretty sure we'll be going there in 2026. It would be a real downgrade if we didn't get a chance to go to the Apple Spaceship Campus. It would be a big thing. It would be a downgrade if we didn't get to go there. So maybe the Pixelmator coming aboard creative teams inside Apple can lead them to new paths in Apple Pro apps. I think, let me just go back here. I think Creator Studio and the Pro apps are separate. I think they're separate. Maybe not. Maybe they're doing something and bringing Final Cut and Logic Pro into this Creator Studio. Maybe. We'll have to see. I presume this is going to be Mac OS and iOS, both. So we'll have to see. But it's certainly interesting. Now, somebody found this in the beta. One of the betas of Mac. I think it was Mac. So we'll have to see how that goes. We'll have to see how that goes. All right, everyone. I am going to get out of here. My friend Luke that I met at the last Creative Summit, Luke Chardonnay. Richard, they might be recoding all the Pro apps into a stronger Creative Studio platform now that they're ending Intel compatibility. Absolutely could be. I'd like to see a brand new rewrite of Final Cut Pro because the code now is 14 years old. So maybe it's the Swift language model. I'm not sure, whatever that is. But anyway, Ben says, have a good one. Absolutely, Ben. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Got a lot of thumbs up today, a lot of people watching. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the United States. And if you celebrate Thanksgiving, this is the week for Thanksgiving. Tuesday, I'm thinking 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll be back. Special edition of Final Cut, thank you very much, of Final Cut TV Lives, very special edition. And you'll see what it is on Tuesday. It'll be advertised in all the Final Cut Pro groups, etc., etc., etc. All right, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the U.S., everybody else, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe over there at the YouTube channel. Join our Facebook groups. We have a bunch of them. And I'll see you Tuesday at 1 o'clock. And if you don't make then, we'll be back next Saturday. Thanks, everyone.